Hello everyone! You're now watching a general mathematics and pre-calculus guide for senior high school grade 11 students. Today we'll be talking about topics split into three main parts: functions, linear functions, and conic sections. Don't get these topics? Don't worry! We've got you covered. Keep watching and start learning.
Hi, I'm Zarina, and let's talk about functions. A function is a root of a relationship between an input, independent quantity, and an output, dependent quantity, in which each input value uniquely determines one output value.
Domain, set of inputs. Codomain, set of all possible outputs. Range, set of outputs. Injective, there are more output than the input.
Surjective.
Two or more input have the same output. Bijective, we have one-to-one correspondent. The different types of drawing the functions would be mapping or arrow diagram and table of values. Now for the 6 types of function, I will be helped by my co-tutor, which you will see later on. First, the constant function. It is a function whose output or range value is the same for every input value. The domain of constant function is always negative infinity to positive infinity. Next up, we have linear function. This graph forms a straight line. It has one independent variable and one dependent variable, in which the independent variable is x and the dependent variable is y. All linear function is always domain is negative infinity to positive infinity and range is negative infinity to positive infinity.
And the rest will be explained by Dwayne.
Thank you, Zarina. I'll be finishing up the types of functions that we have left, and I'll make them quick and easy for you.
Curve, parabola. F of x is equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. Polynomial function. Function of a single variable. It is independent, not polynomial function. F of x is equals to negative 21x raised to negative 5. F of x is equals to 3 over x to 4. F of x is equals to square root of x to 3. Additional information. X squared is equals to quadratic. X cubed is equals to cubic. X raised to 4 is equals to quartic. Absolute function has a symbol like this. Contains algebraic expressions within absolute value symbols. Piecewise function. One more than one formula is used to define the output over different pieces of the domain.
And that's it for the functions. But before we move on, let's look closer to one specific function to be explained by our co-tutor, Shirley.
Thank you, Dwayne. Hi, I'm Cher. Now let's talk about a more specific function that was earlier mentioned, and that is linear functions. Linear functions are those whose graph is a straight line. The linear function has the following form, whereas f of x is equal to ax plus b. A linear function has one independent variable and one dependent variable. The independent variable is x and the dependent variable is y. Now, let us have an example. F of x is equal to 6x minus 3. X is equal to 4. F of 4 is equal to 6 times 4 minus 3. Now we have 24 minus 3 is equals to 21. That's all for this section. And speaking of sections, let us now head on to introduction to conic sections, shall we? Teacher! Hello, my name is Angelica, and today, me and my co-tutor will be teaching you about the last part of our tutorial, the introduction of conic section.
This is the double knob circular cone and its different parts. Central axis is the vertical line down the double knob cone. It is the line remain at fixed. Generator. These are the diagonal sides of a double knob circular cone, and it is the line that rotates around the fixed point. Vertex. It is the point at the center, and it is the fixed point of a double knob. Upper and lower knob. These are the lateral surfaces. Vertex angle, it is the angle between central axis and the generator and it is denoted by A. There are types of conic sections, the non-degenerate and the degenerate. Non-degenerate conic sections are the circle, ellipse, parabola, and the hyperbola. Degenerates are point, line, and two intersecting lines. The general form of second-degree equation is the ax squared plus bxy plus cy squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equals to 0. I'll only be talking about the circle for now. For the circle, b2 minus 4ac is less than 0, b is equals to 0, a is equals to c, and the eccentricity is 0. Eccentricity is denoted by e. It is thought of as a measure of how much conic section is deviated from being circular. Circle is the set of all points, x and y, in a plane whose distances from a fixed point is a constant. Center is the fixed point and the radius is the distance from the center to any point of the circle. The distance formula is d is equals to square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. And the standard form of an equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to r squared.
Let's go to John for our next part.
Hey, I'm John and I'll be talking about ellipse.
An ellipse in a conic section is generated when the plane cuts the cone at a slanted angle. The angle created by the plane must be greater than the angle between the central axis and the generator. For the ellipse, the value of the discriminant would be b squared minus 4ac. It is less than 0, b is equals to 0, a is not equal to c. Its eccentricity would be e is greater than 0 but less than 1.
Now let's go to Nicole to talk about parabolas.
Thanks, John. A parabola is formed when the plane cuts perpendicularly to the generators.
A parabola is the set of all points whose distance from a fixed point, called the focus, is equal to the distance from a fixed line, called the directrix. The point halfway between the focus and the directrix is called the vertex, and the line that passes through the vertex and the focus is called the axis of symmetry. The line segment through the focus perpendicular to the axis of symmetry is called the lattice rectum, whose length is 4p. If we have the equation x squared is equal to 4py with the vertex at the origin, the parabola will open upward because p is positive. Keep in mind that if p is positive, the parabola opens upward. So if p is negative, it will open downward.
We have the equation y squared is equal to 4px. The parabola will open either to the left or to the right depending on p. If p is positive, it will open to the right, but if p is negative, it will open to the left. If the vertex is not at the origin, the equation will be x minus h squared is equal to 4p times y minus k, which opens upward or downward. If p is negative, it will open downward. If p is positive, it will open upward. If the vertex is not at the origin and the parabola opens to the left or to the right, the equation will be y minus k squared is equal to 4p times x minus h. Again, if p is positive, it will open to the right, but if p is negative, it will open to the left.
I know it's a lot to take in, but now we have to go to the last non-degenerate conic section with Josh.
Thank you, Nicole, and I'll be talking about hyperbola.
A hyperbola is a symmetrical open curve formed by the intersecting of a circular cone with a plane at a smaller angle with its axis than the side of the cone. A hyperbola is produced when the plane passes through the both naps between the central axis and it does not pass through the vertex. When it passes through the vertex, it will degenerate into two intersecting lines. The degree equation of the form ax squared plus bxy plus cy squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equals to 0 is determined by the values of b squared minus 4ac. b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. It is the value of hyperbola's discriminant than the eccentricity. The e or the eccentricity must be greater than 1. It means the value that you'll get from the equation or the solution must be positive and greater than 1.
And that's all the time we have for today.
We hope you've learned something, and if you didn't get something here, you can always rewatch it again. Remember that when solving, always remember to follow the rules, follow the steps. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Till the next tutorial.